Guys, welcome to the Bulletin Bites, your podcast by the Bulletin Box. I'm your host, Ivana. Thank you to the Bulletin Box for inviting me over today to have an important discussion on a topic connected to mental wellness. Everyone is talking about mental health nowadays, but it's important to focus on the fact that everyone should be interested in their mental health, but also on their mental wellness, as this is something relevant for all of us. So today, we're going to focus on mental wellness, which is the ability to enjoy life, to cope with stress, to achieve goals, to build and maintain positive relationship with others. To kick off this series, I have today with me a special guest, Anupama Murali. Anupama Murali is an ICF certified coach, neurochange method practitioner, keynote speaker, musician, and a meditation teacher. She brings a rich experience of over 15 years in the IT world, coupled with an equal number of years in voluntary work. She works with individuals and groups in the space of life and executive coaching and self-leadership training. As a coach, she helps people to shift from a reactive life to intentional living by enabling her clients to be more congruent in their lives. Her clients range from corporate professionals to entrepreneurs to researchers who are keen to live life with clarity, stability, and enthusiasm. She conducts webinars and workshops at corporate and academic organizations on self-awareness and self-leadership. She also specializes in helping highly accomplished individuals to overcome imposter syndrome through her work in enoughness. Welcome, Anu.
Thank you so much, Ivana. You're looking lovely today, and your introduction was so cheerful. So I'm all set.
That's great. Looking forward to hear more from you. So, Anu, tell me about your journey into mental wellness.
So, Ivana, in my case, I think I was fortunate enough to experience opposites in my life, which really got me to where I am today. It first started with illness and sickness. I had experienced very good health as a youngster, and then suddenly my health went completely off, and I was, in the bed for 6 months. So overcoming illness actually switched my approach to how I wanted to look at my lifestyle. I overcame that, and then a few years later, I started having problems with fitness, physical fitness. I experienced good health on in some months, and suddenly I also experienced terrible back problems. I couldn't move, I couldn't function. That got me into Pilates and yoga and strengthening myself. So that was the fitness journey. I overcame that, and I got, fitter, and things were working very well. I was working for a very good company. Family was great. And then I came into this space of experiencing opposites in my emotions and how I was feeling, So I had these days where I had highs and lows in the same day. So I would feel great and energetic and enthusiastic at work and feel totally drained and opposite of that when I was at home or interacting with people outside work. And that really got me curious to want to change that, because somewhere I knew that if there was times in my life when I felt high and good, there must be a way to sustain this. So that's my journey. And that got me into wanting to look inward and find out more.
Wow, what a journey. What is this looking inward about?
How do I explain this? Looking inward is simply about being curious about what makes one feel a certain way. It could be for both positive and non-positive emotions, right? So sometimes we feel very great about something, sometimes we're so sad about something, but really being curious about what makes me feel this way, because then you may have an opportunity to alter that or change that, or I would even say manage it better, manage your emotions better. So looking inward is, if I were to give you an example, let's look at this, right? Sometimes we point at things, this situation, this person makes me feel a certain way. But while we are pointing there are three fingers pointing at us, right? So looking inward is to curl this other finger as well towards you so that you can manage your life better.
Wow, I like this metaphor about your fingers. It makes it very visual to us. Thank you for sharing. I heard your latest talk that is looking inward to move forward. So how are these two things related?
Aren't we all wanting to move forward? And here, moving forward doesn't mean, getting your next job or going to, having your next promotion or even a relationship status. We all wanting to all we all want to move forward because we want to not carry baggage with us, isn't it? Life experiences teach us a lot of things. Sometimes we carry that with us. Other than the learnings, of course, we carry baggage as well. So moving forward is about applying yourself freshly again and again to every day so that you can embrace life as it comes. And as you mentioned earlier, be active, have wonderful relationships, enjoy the journey as much as getting to your goals. So moving forward is something all of us do and need to do. But here in this context is about moving forward with enthusiasm, with clarity and stability so that you can enjoy the journey. And I believe that when you look inward, you are better equipped to move forward.
Wow, sounds good, because sometimes we are so busy with doing so much, and then at some point we find stuck. We're not going anywhere. So it sounds very important that sometimes we just stop and look inward, because this is the way we can actually move forward, understand where we really want to go. So thank you so much for sharing this. So how can people find out this need of looking inward?
How do people know they need to look inward? I think that first of all, we can only change what we are aware of. So when do we know that we need to look inward? When everything is going fine and yet you find that you're not enthusiastic. You find that you have these extreme emotions. Now, all of us go through a variety of emotions. It's like different colors. It's perfectly okay to have times in the day when you're feeling a little down, a little frustrated, and so on. But we're talking about these intense emotions coming up again and again. So if you find yourself having this emotional imbalance where sometimes you're just so ecstatic and some other times you're just, not even approachable, or you're experiencing sadness, or you feel that you're very angry sometimes and you don't know how to manage it, that is one way. That is one, kind of a tip to see, or opportunity to see if you need to look inward. It's about emotions. The second is simply energy. Your emotions are okay, but then you find that you are having times when you're very energetic and sometimes you're not energetic. Now, at the back of that, again, will be emotions only. You have not picked it up yet. But if I were to simplify it, Ivana, I would say anytime you feel that you are not able to maintain and manage your day consistently, you're not able to keep things neutral and consistent and stable, then there is a need to look inward, because there may be some energy drainers you may want to eliminate.
Thank you for sharing this. So we have two ways to find out. One is when we don't feel enthusiastic, and three is when we don't have enough energy to go through our day. So it's normal to have up and down in our energy, but this is, I understand, when you have a consistent lack of energy and you don't know what is your drainer. All right, thank you so much. So the first step is awareness. Of course, if we're not aware, we don't know, we have to look inward. But once the person is aware, what can they do next?
I would like to share a little bit about the awareness as well, right? So we're all going about our day sort of unconsciously. And if I were to draw an analogy to, driving the car, once you know how to drive a car, you're not really so, like, the first time you learn to drive, you're very alert and making sure that you're doing things correctly, you're looking around and so on. Once you are so good with it, you're not so aware while driving, until you see something in front of you. Let's say they're diverting traffic, or there's been an accident, or the traffic is slowing down. Suddenly you go from going unconsciously to consciously driving. You start looking, and you're alert and your attention is going there. So awareness requires us to be more attentive of what is happening. Not just going about your day as if it's okay, I go through this and this is how it is. Being a little bit more attentive and remembering this car example is good. You don't have to be attentive all the time. We're not talking about that. But attention is a limited resource because there's constant competition for attention, right? Something is happening around us which is always draining our attention or taking our attention. Nowadays, when we are working from home, all the more there's probably family at home. And of course, you have your work, and then there could be your phone on your personal things as well. Everything is taking your attention. So, how do you become more aware? Is that, let's say that something happens, somebody says something, you get a text message, and suddenly you feel something, in physical sensations in your body. That's a way to sort of say, hey, what is happening? So you bring your attention to that. So consciously being aware. Of course, we are all aware, but are we consciously aware? So this is what I'm talking about.
How can we remind ourselves to be aware? Because as you said, we go through our day sometime in autopilot. How can we remind ourselves of switch on this attention button on how we feel and how we go through our day?
So first thing is just being more aware about your own physicality. The interesting thing is that, when we get emotional, before we can even express it, we can actually feel it physically. If there is, let's say, nervousness, they say butterflies in the stomach, right? So what is that? That sensation that we get. Or if somebody says something and you felt hurt, you will find that there are sensations in the heart region. If somebody hurt you and it was, very hurtful, it will be in the throat region. So physically, you will actually feel that there is something which has shifted. I'm simply talking about, not just ignoring that, actually attending to that, saying, hey, what just happened? What did I just experience? And just bringing the attention to that physical sensation itself gives us the opportunity to change how we are going to respond.
All right. So pay more attention to our physical sensation is
as a start. Yes.
And once we do that, so we may have some awareness that something is going on. What can we do then?
Of course, the next step is, just being aware is not enough. We need to also be willing to do something about it. Now, willingness is very tricky, right? Because this is where you will get caught up in those patterns to say, hey, this is happening because of this person and that situation. Otherwise, I would be perfectly fine. But willingness is about being open to actually say, okay, no matter what is causing this, I want to do something differently. So first of all, it requires openness, thinking differently from the way you operated before. Second thing you need for willingness is also courage, because it's not easy to just understand yourself, because then you may also realize that you're probably, overreacting a situation or you're overthinking. That requires courage to actually change the way you're going to do things in the future, isn't it? So first is openness, then you have to have some courage. And then also willingness requires determination. It is not a one-time exercise. You have to be determined. And just coming to me, it's turned out to be an OCD, right? Openness, courage, and determination. All of us have some form of OCD. So willingness is about breaking those patterns with openness, courage, and determination.
Yeah, thank you. This is very insightful. So I believe willingness is also willingness to look inside ourselves, because as you said, sometimes we can point fingers at others. It comes back to your metaphor of fingers, to also point at fingers inside ourselves.
Yes.
And see what are our internal reason to feel that way.
Absolutely.
So we have first step, which is awareness, then willingness. Let's assume I'm looking forward to do something now. What shall I do? What can I do?
So Ivana, how can we basically become more aware and have this willingness? Openness, courage, and determination, they are wonderful words, but is it so easy to do? What has worked for me is to pause and ponder. So before, you kind of... to even curl that finger inward is not easy, because it's very easy to point there, isn't it? That's an easy thing to do. But to actually curl that finger, you need to pause. You can't be in constant play. So if you're going to have physical sensations, whenever a person appears in front of you or a situation comes up, you may not be able to address it at that point in time. So you take that observation away and pause and ponder, saying, what made me feel this way? And one of the things that really works is to really allow yourself to use your own breath. So just relaxing in the comfort of your own breath is one of the ways to pause. And that pausing can allow you to ponder, I would say. So that's what has worked for me. And I would really like to take the opportunity to share with the audience today, what does it mean to use one's own breath?
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking forward to experience that with you. Would you like to do this now?
Absolutely. So I'm going to invite all our listeners to really relax in the comfort of their own breath. Now, all of you who are listening may be thinking, it's my breath, it's with me every moment. What do I have to do with it? It's nothing to do with the breath. It's about just being with the breath. Are we really being with our breath? Every time we breathe in, we actually energize ourselves, isn't it? You must have said this before to someone whenever you find them flustered, saying, hey, take a deep breath in. We say this, but what is at the back of that? It's the fact that every time we breathe in, our body energizes. And energy here is the subtle energy, which keeps us, elevated. And we're not talking about calorific energy. We're talking about the chi energy here. So we energize when we breathe in, and when we breathe out, every single time, we're relaxing because there's a detox happening. So I'm talking about really harnessing this power consciously. So I invite all the listeners and my wonderful host today to just sit down comfortably, placing the palms open to the sky. However you're seated, make sure that your spine is straight and relaxed. And let's all close our eyes. We're just going to first take simple deep breaths in. So breathe in. As you breathe in, you'll observe that your abdomen expands on its own. As you breathe out, it will contract effortlessly. Let's do this, keeping our attention on the in-breath and the out-breath. Invite the in-breath with a smile on your face. And see off the out-breath too. Relax in the comfort of your own breath. Without much effort and straining your body, breathe in deeply. And breathe out. We'll do this one more time, and this time you can bring a smile on your face. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now we will apply a rhythm to the breath. For 4 counts, we'll breathe in normally. For 4 counts, we will hold the breath. For 4 counts, we will let the breath out and breathe in again. Let's do this together. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath, 2, 3, 4. Out, 2, 3, 4, and relax. Breathe normally. Keeping your eyes closed. Let's once again observe the breath in, the abdomen expanding, and the breath out. Slowly and gradually, you may open your eyes.
Thank you, Anu, for this beautiful practice. I often practice breath work to calm down my nerves before speaking, and this is what I also recommend to my students doing public speaking. But I haven't reflected on the fact that when you do breath work, you also feel more energized. So thank you so much for bringing also this aspect to us. That was a lovely exercise. Thank you so much for sharing with our audience today. I feel so much calm and happy now. Thank you so much. It will start my day in a different mood. So that's
You look brighter. You're already bright. You're now brighter, Ivana.
Thank you.
Yeah. So allowing ourselves to relax in the comfort. Now, with the work I do, I find that, people are so busy that they say that I don't have time for this. So here is a message I would like to say, that for those of us who are not busy, it is okay to pause probably once a day and spend 5 to 10 minutes. For those of us who are very busy, we should do this twice a day.
It doesn't take so long. It's only 5 minutes. And if we can have so much benefit out of this, why not? We can make up the time for that. Thank you so much for sharing this. Before I let you go, I'm really curious because I read about your work in enoughness. I'm curious to know, what is that? Would you like to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So the word enough, right? If I may say, use the word enough, it can be understood in different ways. For example, I have enough, I have enough, in terms of contentment. I have enough. The other is enough is enough. I can't take this anymore. It can be used that way as well, right? Enoughness is basically a state of feeling adequate. Now, adequate is not about saying, I have had enough. I don't want anything. I don't want to work hard. I have done enough in my life. It's not that state. It's that self-confidence to say that whatever I know and whatever I have is respected by me. That is a state of adequacy. Enoughness ignites the leader within. When we start valuing what we know, whatever we know grows. So that is what I share in my work around enoughness. And I have myself experienced this, and I continue to experience this, is instead of looking at what I don't know, when I focus on what I know, I'm more open to also learn and use what I know also effectively. So sometimes what happens when we are in networks and we look at, I don't know this, I'm not yet aware of this. Our attention is on what we don't know, isn't it? But there's a lot we know. So enoughness is that feeling of adequacy, which allows us to grow and flourish.
It's a very important concept. It makes me think about also abundance. So when you focus on abundance instead of what is lacking, so our mind creates our reality. So it's very important that we focus on what we want to create the reality that works for us. So thank you so much for this reminder. So as we coming to an end of this wonderful conversation, do you have any final words you want to share with our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been wonderful chatting with you, Ivana, and thank you for taking me through my own journey and also helping me reflect and share. So for me, mental wellness is that state of being clear, stable, and enthusiastic. It's a birthright for all of us. We all deserve to be experiencing this so that we can flourish, not just operate, to just keep operating, but operating to the best of our ability. And it's a journey. It's a never ending exercise. So mental wellness requires us to spend some time with ourselves and give importance to our mind, isn't it? So the last message I would like to share is, often in life, we think that we don't have time. Often in life, we think that we don't have time for doing things for our mind. But remember this, when you give some time to your mind will give you back much more time back to you. So giving that time is always, it's a good investment. It's a prudent investment, because what you get in return is energy, clarity, stability, and enthusiasm.
Wow, that's a fantastic message. I really enjoyed our conversation. So many takeaways. I love your message about giving some time to your mind, and that your mind will pay back much more. So it's really worth it to invest. It's important to stop and reflect on ourselves to move forward. And also, your message about enoughness. It's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with our audience today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you found this talk useful, like I enjoyed that very much. Do subscribe to the Bulletin Box if you want to support our campaign and help raise the awareness. Thank you for listening to the first episode of the Bulletin Bites on mental well-being and wellness. I'm Ivana from Singapore. Stay healthy and happy.